Back here at Camden Yards, 52 degrees. It is a cool Monday evening here in Baltimore. Chance of rain in the forecast. We have a little bit of a delay because it was just sprinkling, nothing like we had last night. Craig Sager is the fourth member of our crew. Where are you at, Craig?
Well, I'll tell you what, EJ, there's one place where the popularity, notoriety, and following of Wei Yin Chen dwarfs that of Andy Pettitte, and that is the continent of Asia. A separate press box for the dozens of TV, print, and digital media here to document his every pitch. Now, he is a Taiwanese native. He represented his country in 2 Olympics, pitched 4 highly successful seasons in Japan. And according to Jessica Kung of China TV in Taiwan, this is a ratings bonanza. Taiwan is a country of 22 million, and she says millions have literally skipped work today to watch the game live in Taiwan, where it is 8 a.m. Tuesday morning. EJ?
Well, phone ringing at a lot of businesses. Won't be able to quite make it in there today. It's game 2 of the American League Division Series. And it promises to be a dandy. And the Orioles in this best of 5, opening at home for the first 2 and then going to New York for the next 3. So while mathematically they would still have a chance if Baltimore were to lose the first 2 games at home, realistically, you go to Yankee Stadium down 2-0, and this baby is over. There is Wei Yin Chen in the last few moments before he takes the field here at Camden Yards. And the atmosphere once again here, Cal, off the charts.
Yeah, it's really good to see. I remember how electric it was in the early years of Camden Yards, 96, 97. It peaked. It's good to see this sort of energy in this ballpark again.
Well, this game's always filled with optimism, and you're sitting there. If you're Buck, you're trying to convince your team, or maybe you don't have to convince them because they've played this way all year. You know if you can win today, you've taken every series in New York, 2 out of 3, and that is a regular season stat. We know the postseason's different, but there's always some kind of optimism you can look after a moment that doesn't go right the day before.
The roar goes up as the Orioles take the field, and we take a look at the starting lineup. The batting order for the New York Yankees. Derek Jeter once again hitting leadoff. Ichiro in the number 2 hole. He knocked in a couple of runs in game 1. A-Rod was 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts in game 1. He hits 3rd. Then it's Robinson Cano. Nick Swisher hits 5th, followed by Mark Teixeira, who picked up a couple of hits in game 1. Russell Martin, the big home run in the 9th inning last night. Part of that 5-run uprising. Hits 7th, then it's Curtis Granderson. And the designated hitter it is Eduardo Nunez, who bats 9th for Joe Girardi's bunch. We've heard a lot about Chen from Craig Sager and the big following, but tell me more about him, John.
Well, he's a guy that you're going to see a lot of fastballs. He's given up some home runs. This Yankee lineup has hit a few home runs off of him. He had a rough September, 0-3, and this is a chance to turn the page and start over. But I am really impressed with the fact that he attacks the hitters. Pitch the first like the 9th, come out as a closer, put up a 0, keep the ball in the park, and fastball, fastball, fastball. That's what you're going to see from this young pitcher for the Orioles, who really has no experience in this atmosphere like a lot of them, but they seem to be okay.
Wei Yin Chen, lefty against lefty tonight, facing Andy Pettitte. Defensively, here's the way the Orioles line up. Around the outfield, you got Nate McLeod, who has a Gold Glove in his career, as does Adam Jones. And Chris Davis made a couple of great plays in right field last night. Machado and Reynolds on the corners, J.J. Hardy and Robert Andino up the middle. Matt Wieters behind the plate. Wei Yin Chen is on the mound. Of course, in playoff baseball, you add a couple of umpires down the line. Angel Hernandez behind the plate tonight. Ryan Gorman at first. Fielden Culbreth makes the calls at second. Mike Everett at third. And on the lines, you got Mark Carlson, who moves from right field to left field tonight, and Tony Randazzo, who moves to the right field line after calling balls and strikes in the opener of this best of 5. There is Derek Jeter, 2 for 4 last night, scored a couple of runs. He was 5th in the American League in hitting with a .316 mark. And his 216 hits led all of baseball. Jeter, 38 years old, and the most hits he ever had in his career, 219, when it's 13 years ago. The consistency, remarkable in the career of the captain.
Didn't they say he was just almost done last year?
He has certainly proven otherwise, and he stands in against Chen. Game 2 is underway. Takes a strike, it's 0-2.
Well, in his big league debut, Jeter was the first hitter he faced. Jeter promptly greeted him with a home run. Early on, again, attacking with the fastballs, 0-2. Here it is. That's what you're going to see. Not much more than 80 to 70% fastballs.
Lined into center field on an 0-2 pitch. Jeter aboard to start the game.
Well, Jeter says if you're going to throw just fastballs, I'm going to hit just your fastball. Line drive to right center field on 0-2. You want to make a better pitch than that. You want to bring it up in the strike zone against Derek Jeter. But if you leave it down in the strike zone right there, he can hit that.
Last night, Jeter led off with a single and scored the game's first run on a double by the guy at the plate now, Ichiro. Swinging at the first pitch and fouls it back out of play.
Well, what Chen desperately needs, and every pitcher would love to have it in this atmosphere, is get a lot of quick pitch outs. You know, as a Yankee lineup that he's going to come after you with fastballs. You want quick results one way or the other. Because he doesn't trick you too much, and he does have that late life on his fastball, I think for Chen, he would love to get some quick outs with that fastball to give him confidence.
Jeter leads from first. Ichiro Suzuki waits on an 0-1. Again, pop foul. Just about the same place, 0-2.
Well, the Yankees know he throws a lot of fastballs, and they're going to go up there. They have the reputation as being a team that walks, but that doesn't mean that they don't come up there and swing the bat. They're looking for good pitches. If you throw a good pitch, they'll swing.
Second consecutive hitter, he's got 0-2.
Hey, John, what percentage of fastballs do we have working so far?
We have about 100% working. It's really rare in all the things that I've looked at since I have retired, which is too many numbers and too many stats. I haven't come across this kind of ratio where 0-2, 1-2, doesn't matter. He's throwing a lot of fastballs. His dangerous counts are 1-0, 2-0. But when he does get two strikes, like most pitchers, he has an advantage in the 1 to 180 average opponents against.
The 0-2. Tap towards second. And Reynolds cannot make the play. All hands are safe. Reynolds made two dandies last night, but he bobbles this one, and the Yankees are in business early. Runners at first and second with nobody out.
Well, right here, I think Mark Reynolds might make a mistake by going after this ball. You want him to be aggressive, but he's got to stay at home with any chance to get the runner out at first base. Ichiro runs too well. If he can make this play, he has a force out at second base, but barehanding it's a high-risk move.
So here's A-Rod. 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts in game 1. He bats here in the first with runners at first and second, nobody out. Let's go to Craig Sager.
Well, you're talking about that play with Mark Reynolds, which looked like a routine play, but he barehanded it. Remember, during that rain delay, unlike last night, the tarp was not on the grass. That is a very wet grass field out there, and that may have been what the problem was, tipping the ball out of his hand.
All right, thank you, Craig. A-Rod waits on an 0-1. And the count even, a ball and a strike.
Maybe at the big league level you might consider that a routine play, but with the speed on both runners, Ichiro running to first and Derek running to second base, I didn't think that was routine.
Jeter singled, Ichiro reached on an error. And that ball fouled out of play down the right side.
Well, the ideal situation beside a strikeout is a double play ball, but he's a fly ball pitcher for the most part. Only 10 double play balls in 192 and 2/3 innings this year. But it would sure be nice to this crowd and for his emotions to get A-Rod to hit one on the ground. Of course, A-Rod's thinking gap or up in the air.
Ran it inside and missed. 2 balls and 2 strikes. A-Rod is 2 out of 7 against Chen this year. One of those here at Camden Yards, a bomb to left center field. And here in game 2, Rodriguez faces him in the top half of the first. 2 runners on, nobody out.
When you do face a pitcher that throws this many fastballs, many times you can take a chance, 0-2, 1-2, and almost reverse the count. Let's say it's a 3-1, 2-1, 2-0 pitch in your mind, and let it fly. Take a chance.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Chen to the plate. And that ball is hit hard to second. Took second for a run, and they say he's out on the line drive. Don't know if he trapped it or not, but the call is made at second by Field and Culbreth. Well, he got the force at second.
If it's a catch, it's a double play.
Right.
And I guess that's why Joe Girardi's going out there to argue. We certainly will have the benefit of the replay, but it looked from this direction he might have trapped it. Scalding line drive.
He caught it. That was a great play.
And that is a double play.
Well, the double play is what they wanted. They got it in a strange way, a line drive that really could have been a base hit that the second baseman Andino, unbelievable. Absolutely what Baltimore needed. And Chen now faces one of their best hitters with the runner on first and 2 outs.
Is that how you drew up the double play?
Not exactly, but nonetheless, you'll take it.
Well, Andino made a great play. It looked to me as if he was reaching to make the flip. But he made the catch. Jeter doubled off. Ichiro still at first. So now 2 down. Runner at first for Robinson Cano.
For Chen, he's throwing a lot of strikes in this inning, all primarily with his fastball. He's going to have to move it in and out. You try to get through that first inning unscathed, showing the other team that you believe in your fastball, but without moving it in and out and being comfortable with 2 strikes, this Yankee team will score a lot of runs. So as he makes the adjustments during the game, see what the Yankees do to counter.
Nibbled at the corner and missed to Robinson Cano.
There's a reason this team led baseball in all of baseball for home runs. They love the fastball.
A liner toward the wall in right. That's a fair ball off the wall. Chris Davis will field, and they're going to wave Ichiro. The throw to the plate. He is safe. Somehow he got around the tag of Wieters.
And I think the replay will show that he was safe.
I've often wondered why in these situations you as a catcher just don't lay on the plate. I don't know that he could have got there in time, but you see this fastball that he absolutely smokes in the corner, and the relay Maybe not as quick, but good enough in plenty of time to get him at home. And right here, as he goes to reach, and he gets to his knee and can't get back to the plate, still trying to chase, he could almost laid on top of the plate. I don't think there's any way he could get to it.
Another look from this angle. Clearly there, missing on the tag, and Wieters goes back for another try. And they say there's Angel Hernandez as he got the hand in. And an acrobatic play by Ichiro to
now
score.
The ball's up the line. Sorry, Ernie, but the ball's up the line. And, John, I agreed. Lay right on the home plate right there. He can't get into it, block it all off, and then make the tag. But he did avoid the tag.
Well, it's 1-0 Yankees in the strangest of ways.
Well, the natural thing to do in baseball is go chase the guy to tag him out, but he's got to come back to you. And you've seen this a couple times in baseball where a guy hurdles the catcher or does one of these moves. Great play by Ichiro. But if you had time to slow it down and realize he's got to come back to you, you could almost crawl on that plate. But the Yankees take advantage, and Chen's going to have to change his approach with all fastballs.
A ball and 2 strikes to Swisher. Another look. Got the right hand in there to score the first run. Look at that Yankee dugout. Inside the Swisher count, even 2 balls and 2 strikes. Been a lot going on in this top half of the first inning. Line drive into a double play. And then a ball off the wall and a relay that had Ichiro by 10 feet. And somehow he found his way to the plate. Fouled off at the plate by Swisher. Stays 2-2. Robbie Cano retreats to second.
It's one of those innings that if you do get that out at home plate, on your side, you start saying, hey, all that and nothing. It's not over yet because of Ichiro's great athleticism.
24 hours ago, it was a head scratcher. He tried to steal third with nobody out and was thrown out. Tonight, an acrobatic way to score the first run of the game. Rounded to short, J.J. Hardy up and throwing, and that'll do it. In the top half of the first, some home plate ballet by Ichiro. The Yankees on the board in their half of the first. Nate McLeod will hit leadoff for the Orioles. J.J. Hardy hit second, then Chris Davis. Adam Jones in the cleanup spot, then Matt Wieters. Mark Reynolds at first. Jim Thome will DH tonight. Manny Machado, the 20-year-old third baseman, hits 8th. Robert Andino, the second baseman, that's 9th against Andy Pettitte.
Well, Andy Pettitte, you're going to see pretty intense. Glove's going to cover most of his face. He's going to be locked in, and it's up to the Orioles hitters to change the pedigree of a guy who's dominated the postseason with 19 wins, looking for his 20th. When you see Andy Pettitte, we just talked about the playoff pedigree, pitches off his fastball, and he's changing speeds a lot more than he has in the past.
McLeod sends it into left center field, and drifting over is Ichiro. One down. There's the way they line up defensively for the Yankees. Ichiro, Granderson, and Swisher left to right. A-Rod at third, Jeter at short. Cano at second, Teixeira at first, the usual suspects. Russell Martin behind the plate, catching Andy Pettitte. 43rd postseason start. And here's J.J. Hardy, who looks at a strike.
Well, what Cal was talking about in the open is that Andy Pettitte used to be hard in. Cutters, he used to break a lot of bats. He does not have the velocity on his fastball, obviously in his 40s, but what he's done is he's made more of a break on his slider. It's not a cutter, not a true cutter, and he's got a curveball and a changeup. So he's been effective the last 3 starts of the season. Low ERA, and he pitches.
Grounded towards second. Cano, 2 down. You know, it's eerily similar when you look at 2010 and 2012 with Andy Pettitte. In 2010, he had a left groin issue and missed a lot of time, and then came back on September 24th, made 3 starts. This year, it was the broken ankle, and he missed a bunch of time, came back on September 24th, made 3 starts, and then into the postseason. Chris Davis waves at the first pitch, 0-1.
It amazes me about Andy how he can be so sharp and not have that many innings in a playoff atmosphere like that. You just can't call on your control.
Well, one of the things he's always been really good at, and staying in shape. He's strong, and he repeats his mechanics. And when you repeat your mechanics over and over again, you have a better chance to be consistent than somebody who varies from time to time in the way they throw the baseball. And he just has an innate ability to feel like he's always going to make that pitch under crucial situations. He said, look, I've had good games and bad games in the postseason, but I believe I can make those pitches under situations that call for it with much more attention to it than a regular season game.
Davis just reaches out to stay alive. It remains 1-2.
The Orioles have a couple of left-handers in the lineup tonight, and many times when Andy was in his prime with that cutter, switch hitters would turn around to the left side to face him.
And there is a strike 3 called with Chris Davis to end the first. It's 1-0 Yankees. And Mark Teixeira will lead it off. He hears boos when he comes to the plate. He was a free agent. There were thoughts that he might locate here in Baltimore, near where he grew up, but he opted for the Yankees.
The Oriole fans were hopeful.
High in the air, foul territory. Mark Reynolds over there by the dugout and makes the play and down. Hey, it's time for the big hit, brought to you by Avocados from Mexico. Take you back to last night, 9th inning. Russell Martin doesn't get much bigger than this. That sparked a 5-run 9th inning. Russell Martin, the only guy to hit walk-off homers for the Yankees this year. And then that one in the top of the 9th ignited the rally.
That seems a bit strange, as many home runs as they do hit.
Chen to Martin. Caliper for a strike, 1-1.
For Chen, just like that pop-up by Teixeira, he's going to need a few of those. He's going to need Yankee hitters to just miss fastballs and keep it in the outfield or infield in front of the walls to have success tonight, and mix in a few of those pitches as well.
He's ahead of Martin, 1-2. $46,000 plus wanted that.
A little help will help too if he can get some borderline calls. This one's a ball, but that's the height and depth you want on that pitch. And of course that one probably caught the strike zone down the middle. We're looking for a number 5 on the pitch tracks, and yes, it did catch the strike zone.
Well, that one got Buck Showalter out of his seat. And that ball is hit to center field. Adam Jones drifting back. 2 up and 2 down here in the second. And here's Curtis Granderson. 43 home runs, tied for second in the American League with Josh Hamilton. Looks at a breaking pitch, 0-1. Also knocked in 106 runs.
You saw Buck jump on the top step of the dugout. Both managers have been known to try to get in the umpire's ear early for late inning calls.
Count even, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
What that first pitch curveball did is sped up his fastball, which already has late life. But you got to have these hitters guessing just a little bit and know that it isn't going to be a bunch of fastballs that you're dealing with.
First strikeout of the night for Chen. A 1-2-3 inning. This postseason, for the first time, MLB Network has Division Series game telecasts coming up this Wednesday. Don't miss any of the action of St. Louis at Washington. Game 3, that series now tied a game apiece. And it's a game you can only see on MLB Network. Go to MLBnetwork.com for schedule and channel number. I believe that's a Bob Costas, Jim Cott call on Wednesday on MLB Network. Well, the Orioles went quietly in their half of the first, moved to the bottom half of the second. Here's Adam Jones, looking for his first hit of this postseason. Orioles have played 2, won the wild card game over the Rangers in Arlington, and then dropped game 1 last night.
Well, if you're looking at the lineup wondering what was Buck doing, putting together the lefties in spacing them apart, I think he's looking long-term down the game, making it tougher for Joe to mix and match. You got 3 lefties in, one being a switch hitter, and they're not stacked together. And you're going against a left-hander who probably is not going to go more than 6 innings. And if your recipe works, you knock him out before then, and it makes it harder for Joe to bring in a left and a right and match up with your lineup.
2-1 is fouled off, count even.
I think they're on to the right thing. I think Buck wants to force Joe maybe to go to the bullpen a little early. And this change in the lineup does make him burn a lot of pitchers.
There's the stare you've heard John and Cal talk about this evening from Andy Pettitte. Fly ball behind second. And there's Robinson Cano for the first out.
It's amazing about pitching and why Andy is so good. You see guys throw 97 miles an hour and hitters have great swings at it. The ball's out there, the hitter can see it, it's straight. Andy hides the ball. He's a big left-handed pitcher. You can't pick it up, and he hits his spots about 75% of the time. That fastball that jammed Jones was in a perfect spot somewhere he wasn't looking for it, and his change of speed just makes it more difficult to lock in on something.
Well, from someone that stood in that box and looked at that stare and felt he has a lot of deception on his fastball. He is long, he is big, and all of a sudden the ball's on you.
Wieters on the ground to Rodriguez, who throws him out for the second out.
That's a great sign for Andy to get those broken bats, those weak fly balls. That's the kind of outs that he gets when he has his command and that cutter working on the inside part of the plate.
See Pettitte winning 7 out of 10 in game 2s. He's been in every conceivable postseason situation.
That radar gun is reading consistently 87.
Breaking pitch over. 1-1.
And to me, that's the big difference and change in the older Andy Pettitte versus the younger one, or even 4 years ago. The curveball was more of a show pitch. It's an effective pitch for him now. Change of speeds, throws a little bit bigger of a slider, and then his fastball looks a little faster.
A ball and 2 strikes.
Well, you got the veteran versus the rookie. That's definitely a strike. Baltimore wants to see one or two of those for their young guy.
And look at the veteran Andy Pettitte tempting the call on the outside part. Okay, let me see if I can get this one.
And he gets Mark Reynolds swinging for his second strikeout. 6 up, 6 down for Baltimore. Thanks for being with us tonight here on TBS. It's game 2 of the American League Division Series. Had a bit of a rain delay, not a long one. A little under 45 minutes. And we move to the top half of the 3rd inning. Number 9 hitter in the Yankee order, Eduardo Nunez, leads it off. He's the DH tonight. Takes a strike. A mile high, and Manny Machado wants it. 1 down.
Much what we talked about with Chen. I want you to look at this scouting report. Fastball 65%. That's a lot. And it goes up with 2 strikes, and 72% of his strikeouts are with the fastball. So if he can get a lot of that action right there, guys just missing fly balls that stay in the yard, he's going to be successful. You're already seeing that Angel is calling the top of the zone more than the bottom of the zone.
Strike 1 to Derek Jeter, who singled his first time.
Yeah, I think historically he likes to get through the first set of lineups, the first 9 hitters, trying to throw predominantly fastballs, and then he mixes in his secondaries.
And 2 strikes.
Do those stats line up, John, for the normally where he throws for a whole game? That percentages?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's across the board. He's going to throw a lot of fastballs, and it's 29 home runs can be a byproduct of that. He likes his fastball, and so he's going to throw it.
Missed with the 0-2 first time around. Jeter lined an 0-2 pitch for the base hit. Called, 2 down. Jeter didn't think so.
Well, just when I said he's given the top part of the strike zone more than the bottom, you see it catches the bottom of the line, and he gets the call against the great Derek Jeter, who thought maybe that ball was a little bit low, as you see him bring his hands down to where the pitch might be.
Ball 1 to Ichiro, who reached on an error his first time.
I just wonder, we watched Buck Showalter go out and have a little talk in between innings. I wonder if he talked about a couple of those low pitches that he thought were strikes.
1-0 upstairs. 2 balls and no strikes. Ichiro has scored the only run of the game. And he did it in acrobatic fashion, avoiding a tag by Matt Wieters at the plate in the first. And it's 3 balls and no strikes. Chen was 12-7 after beating the Tigers on August 19th. Hasn't won since. 7 starts, 0-4. And of course, being a rookie, this is his first appearance in a playoff game. And he faces Andy Pettitte, who's been there so many times. And after a kind of a bumpy first inning for Chen, He's got a chance to set the Yankees down in order for the second straight inning. That ball fouled straight back.
Well, he's been pretty good on 6 days or more rest. 1-1, 2.28 ERA. The more the rest, the better he feels.
Towards second. That's going to be a tough play, and Andino can't make it.
Here's a chopper up the middle, and this is where Ichiro, when he could really run, would get a lot of these infield hits. He still puts a lot of pressure on. Andino knows he has to hurry, tries to make the transfer a little too quick. Ball slips out of his hand.
So Ichiro aboard with 2 out for Alex Rodriguez, who hit the ball hard his first time. Andino made a diving stop, caught the line drive, and turned it into a double play in the first.
You know, it was amazing. I think everyone caught surprise when the Yankees got Ichiro, and he came over and his bat looked slow. He just didn't look like the same Ichiro, and then he caught fire, and ever since he's caught fire, he's gotten a lot of these infield hits. He's hit the gap. He sprayed the ball all over the park. He's hit anywhere from 8th to 2nd, and I think he's the kind of guy that they thought they were going to get these last 20 or 30 days, and he has been he's been outstanding for them.
I mean, there were a couple of times during the regular season, John, when we did games where they had Ichiro hitting in the 9-hole, and greatest 9-hole hitter in the history of the game on those days.
I wonder what was going through his mind. I'm going to prove to you guys that I'm not a 9-hitter. I'm going to be up there before the season's over. I'll be right in the 1 or 2 spot.
That ball is hit into left field, just out of the reach of Hardy at short. Runners at first and second. Let's go down to Craig Sager.
Well, after striking out 3 times last night, Alex Rodriguez has made an adjustment to his stance. He's trying to stay on his back legs, trying to stay behind the ball. He worked with Kevin Long, the hitting coach, all day. And what happens when he does that, it gives him more time to see the ball. And according to Kevin Long, more time for him to extend his arms and to swing through the pitch. So far tonight, 2 line drives. The hard work he worked on today apparently is paying off. EJ?
He's hit 2 balls right on the nose.
Well, in that play, Cal, I looked over to you. It looked like he lost his footing. The tarp was not put on when it was drizzling for most of that little delay we had. And so far, we've seen a couple instances where the footing has not been exactly the way you would like.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean the infield's going to be bone dry. When you have the tarp on, they still try to treat it, and many times you will have problems with the footing. I thought I noticed it last night in the game a little bit, but certainly Hardy's first step, which is the most important step, he slipped.
Here's Robbie Cano. Fooled on the first one, 0-1.
Building on Alex, that first at bat, when he hits a line drive, it stays up the middle, slightly to the opposite field side. That's always been a sign that he's getting ready to swing the bat well. Because that means you're staying on the ball longer. And really, when he works on the back leg, that's what he's talking about, is loading, kind of hesitating, waiting just a hair longer. And he's got all kinds of power when he's on time.
The 0-1. And Chen ahead, 0-2. This is what Cano did in the first. Absolutely rifled one off the wall and right. Now the relay was to the plate in plenty of time to get Ichiro. But he danced around the attempted tag of Wieters not once but twice and got in with the right hand. It's the only run of the game.
Did you see Cano's reaction on second base at the end of that replay?
Just missed with the 0-2. Tap back toward the mound. Chen with the flip. Gets out of the trouble spot in the third. The game stays 1-0. Now, two of the greatest home run hitters in the history of the game in this series. A-Rod with 647, Jim Thome with 612. Thome number 7, A-Rod number 5 on the all-time list. And they lead 1-2 among active players. Thome leads it off here in the third and takes a strike. He DHs tonight. Buck Showalter loves his presence in that batting order. That's in the air to left and will be easy for Ichiro. One down. 7 straight set down by Andy Pettitte.
To give you a little perspective, Andy Pettitte against the Baltimore Orioles in the regular season, 27-6, 40 games, 253 innings. That's like a whole season. Well, in the postseason, similar, 19-10, 42 starts going into the night, 263 innings. That's been around doing that.
Very nice, my friend. You want some more perspective?
Yes, please.
The guy who just hit, Jim Thome, when he made his debut September 4th of 1991. The guy at the plate now wasn't even born. Manny Machado, 20 years old, starting third baseman and the shortstop of the future for this franchise. Foul back and out of play. Cal, would you like to join the conversation in terms of what John and I are doing, giving perspective on things?
I was just thinking that's a heck of a lot of perspective. I don't have a perspective on that perspective.
On a hop to Jeter at short. Well, Andy's making it look mighty easy here. Would you like some more perspective?
Yeah, give it to me.
56 years ago today, Don Larson's perfect game. That bit of perspective provided by our ace stat man, Hal Galima.
Did he win?
And I certainly wasn't born then.
I was the only person in the booth who was born at that time. Robert Andino takes upstairs. Broke his bat to center, and it falls for the first Oriole hit. Well, that's just the way it works sometimes. Number 9 man shatters the bat, gets a hit.
Here's a cutter. He brings his hands in a little bit so he doesn't get too far on the fist. And he's strong enough with good bat speed to push that out in center field. Makes the hitter very happy.
So for the first time tonight, Pettitte works out of the stretch. He's got a great move, and Andino had a lead of about 8 inches.
Andy just shuts down the running game. I mean, it's well documented. Whether it's a balk or not, it's one of the best left-handed moves in baseball. And you just got to have a one-way lead, which means you're not looking to steal. You're just looking to protect that bag at first base.
Andy has 102 pickoffs for a career. I'm wondering if he got me in one of those 102. It's quite possible. The word is that if you go on first move, that Andy Pettitte has a good move, but he predetermines that he's going to go to first or to go to home. So if you're going to have success off of him, maybe a bigger lead and go on first move.
McLouth takes outside, 2 balls and no strikes. He flied out to left his first time. Cal, you've been over there with Andy trying that move on you before? McLeod lines it to center. That's going to fall for a hit. They're at first and second with 2 out.
Yes, and I took a little league lead where you have 1 foot on the base and 1 foot off. Because it's the darndest thing. It looks exactly like he's throwing the ball to home. And even if you're going to take your eye off him for a minute to go into your secondary lead, he affects your secondary lead. It's that good.
Well, after retiring the first 8 he faced, the last 2 have singled. And here's J.J. Hardy. Hardy doubled last night in the bottom half of the 8th to lead off the frame in a 2-2 game, and the Orioles could not push him around. And the Yankees scored 5 in the 9th. 2-0.
Pettit has never given up a 2-0 count home run in his postseason career. When you think about that, it's pretty impressive. That's a hitter's count.
3 balls and no strikes. Power hitting Chris Davis is on deck. Guy who led the Orioles with 33 home runs. Another bad one loads him. And there it is.
Well, Andy knew the situation there wasn't as vital with the left-hander being on deck. You know, you're going to work in favor of your count. And he let that 2-0 count go the other way with no worries at all. If he walked him, he would attack a fresh hitter, which is a left-hander, and you'd think he has the advantage in that situation. Nonetheless, Baltimore has put some pressure for the first time on New York. See how they respond, see how Andy pitches to Chris Davis.
Davis hit number 7 in the lineup in the opener against left-hander CC Sabathia. Tonight he's moved up to the number 3 hole. And he bats here in the 3rd with the bases loaded. And suddenly Pettit can't find the strike zone.
Well, he went to the windup. He's been comfortable out of the windup. Sometimes you get a little off kilter when you go to the stretch, so he feels comfortable. 2 outs, knowing he needs to make the pitch. That'll guarantee the runner at second to score.
That ball is lined to right. It gets down for a hit. 1 run is in. 2 runs are in. The Orioles lead it 2-1.
I was just thinking that the left-handers have had the better swings off of Andy Pettit tonight, and this one is one of the better swings. Chris Davis coming through with a line drive. The throw ends up coming in behind second base. Derek's very good at sneaking back in there to try to get that out. He's done it a number of times before, but here it is. Nice, easy, fluid, powerful swing. He's come through big for the Orioles in September.
And I'm not so sure that if Jeter doesn't catch that ball, they don't tag him out. He slipped coming around second. In that scenario, as a runner, you got to know your second. The guy on second's going to score. No need to go to third. And fortunately for Baltimore, the throw was high, and he keep this rally going.
I'd have to look at it maybe on a split screen, but I believe if he catches that ball, he tags him before that second run scores, John. It was that close. All of this has happened with 2 outs in the 3rd. And Dino with a single. McLeod with a single. Hardy with a walk. And Chris Davis, a 2-run single to right. Adam Jones waiting. Pop foul out of play.
Here comes that play, a line drive here. Now J.J. Hardy's looking ahead to see if he's going to go, and then he gets caught right behind. And yeah, it looks like they got a play if Derek catches that ball and makes a quick tag.
Hardy and Davis are the runners. Jones 0 for 8 this postseason. Trying to break out of that funk.
I'd say he was just a bit out front of that one. Ground ball into the Yankee dugout.
Jones had a key at bat last night. We talked about the double by Hardy. Orioles couldn't get him over. Jones struck out for the first out. And Hardy stayed at second. Sabathia retired the next two. Pitch by Pettit. Fouled away. 1 ball and 2 strikes. It remains.
You know, the postseason could be so cruel, and a condensed formula. When you start 0 for 4, 0 for 6, everyone says, oh, you're struggling, you know, you're pressing. It only takes 1 at bat, a couple hits. That's why in a course of 162 game, everything evens out. But in a short series, your stars have a lot of pressure on them. They got to take what the pitcher's giving them and not expand and get too aggressive. So 1 hit from either one of these guys that we talked about in the open turns their series around, and you feel better as a team.
Jones spoiled that. It's still 1 and 2.
Yeah, it certainly always feels better when even if you're 0 for, your team wins.
Yeah.
It puts more pressure on you when your team doesn't win, and then everybody's reminding of you about the fact you haven't been getting any hits.
Hardy with the lead at second. Davis from first. And here comes the 1-2, where it won't be made as Pettit steps off.
Well, that move isn't quite as deceptive as the one to first.
Two outs, nobody on. And the Orioles have rallied once again to score some runs, and they still have this going. Playoff baseball, it's hard to get 3 outs in an inning sometimes.
Grounded in the hole under the glove of Jeter. Hardy stayed at third. What went on at third base?
Well, if you're running the base right here, JJ, I'd take a quick peek. But he doesn't take a quick peek to understand that, and he doesn't get this signal right away, so he stops. And by the time he stops, it's too late to get him started again.
Watch DeMarlo Hale. He's windmilling him.
I think Jeter gets him more than he was paying attention to the third base coach, because Jeter had his glove out. Unfortunately for Baltimore, that's a tough break. JJ knows it. You just got to have your big catcher come through and all be forgotten.
They scored a hit. Bases loaded. And Matt Wieters in the air behind second. And Robinson Cano squeezes it. The Orioles score 2. Could have been more. Should have been more. It's a 2-1 game. What a bizarre finish to the third inning. We'll revisit that momentarily. Statue of Babe Ruth. Baltimore product. Outside the walls of Camden Yards, where we head to the top half of the fourth inning, and Nick Swisher. Nick Swisher had an interesting thing happen to him last night.
What's that?
Well, in the ninth inning, a couple of Maryland's finest actually asking for an autograph while the game was still going on in the dugout. A couple of state troopers who were assigned to that area, and apparently it didn't go over very well with Nick at the time. He was able to laugh about it today and said, hey, it's good to know you got fans, but he'd never been in that situation before, going to the bat rack in the 9th inning and being asked for an autograph while the game was going on. Craig?
Well, that was a highway patrolman who was by the dugout supposedly guarding people from going in. He has been removed from the ballpark. He's back trying to catch speeders on the highway tonight, and we have Baltimore Sergeant Painter in the dugout watching tonight and guarding the dugout.
Swisher goes down swinging for the first out. Now let's go back to the J.J. Hardy situation in the bottom of the 3rd.
Certainly after getting a look at this, J.J. Hardy does peek, and it looks like he thinks Derek Jeter caught the ball. He takes his eye off, and then I keep getting this wrong, A-Rod dekes him a little bit, and then he can't get started again. There's a lot going on in that play.
Yeah, great play by A-Rod. You could see the shoulder go up as if a throw might be coming to try and get in the line of sight for A-Rod. In baseball, there are things that are whatever you can do to help your team, and this was a perfect scenario. This was a deke. Look at this view right here. He sees that has been made, but then all of a sudden right there you see him pull a flap up, but at this point it's too late to get restarted.
Line foul by Teixeira. Yeah, Hardy and DeMarlo Hale talking it over after that happened. Hardy would not score in the inning. Line up the middle by Teixeira for a base hit.
It almost looked like JJ said, I thought he caught it. You know, we didn't have a good angle to read his lips, but it seemed like that's what he said. And then he kind of punched his hand a little bit. He knows how important that run was.
But the question I had when I watched that is, how do you not see your big third base coach DeMarlo Hale vigorously waving you on?
Well, he comes into the picture, you know, I'm sure when you're running a little bit late, but you're right. If you don't pick him up, the next best thing to do is not get thrown out at third round in the bag. And that's one of those scenarios you got to do the next best thing after you've gotten deep. And if you pick him up, it's easy. If you pick up the third base coach, that's an easy thing. And we all assume from the angles that we're watching that it's easier said than done. In these type of games, players get caught off guard sometimes, and certainly he knows that's a mistake.
A ball and no strikes to Russell Martin. Teixeira with a lead at first. Let's give you one more look.
He takes a peek, and then he holds up there, doesn't even check. And I would say that I'd like him using his eyes, because if you see it, then you can actually react to it. The problem there was he saw the wrong thing.
Yeah. Well, I maintain they still had a chance to drive in the run and a teammate pick you up. We were part of one of the most historic dekes in Game 7 of a World Series, and what people forget with Lonnie Smith is we had second and third, nobody out. Everyone assumes he should have scored and he should have picked up the third base coach. He did the next best thing you could do. We had 3 opportunities to score, although there it was 2 outs and it's a little bit different situation. But that's when you need your teammate to really tighten you up so no one talks about it the rest of the night.
21 years ago, and it seems to John like 2 hours ago, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, those are the unfair things of sports. We play hard. Everybody's prepared. They're really wanting to do the right thing. Moments like that happen. And the casual fan at home has no idea how that could happen, because it seems like a little league play. But when you're in these moments, there's a lot of big moments that baseball players have been playing for a long time fall prey to.
Certainly magnified at this time of year. Russell Martin draws a 1-out walk. Runners are at first and second.
If you watch a big league game every day of the summer, you'll find out that those big leaguers make similar mistakes to that. But again, it does get scrutinized a whole lot more when it is postseason.
Curtis Granderson struck out his first time. As you get a look at A-Rod, who's deep right in the middle of that, kept Hardy at third. Now Wieters wants to have a word with Chen.
Well, the Yankees had a strange game in the regular season. It was one of those extra inning games, I believe, with the A's. And Melky Mesa's first opportunity in the big leagues as a pinch runner in a crucial situation, missed third base and did not score. A-Rod was at first base getting ready for people to mob him, and it happens. You think, how can you miss a bag? And he was obviously looking at the wrong thing, so those things happen. They went on to win that game and laugh about it later, but that could have been a huge moment in that young kid's career. You think the elementary steps of hitting bags when you do it for your whole life.
And you think this guy's a pretty good base runner. We'll have him pinch run. He's got speed. If we need it, he'll score the winning run, and he wasn't even close to hitting the bag. 2-0 to Granderson.
Breaking ball on 2-0.
Yeah, that is a big pitch, and certainly we've seen that pitch is not that bad, by the way. So to his idea of get through that lineup, and I understand it, get through the lineup, establish your fastball. Sometimes you got to abort that plan, and he's doing a nice job mixing and matching. He's got a couple pitches that are just missing the bats.
Lined up the middle, that's a base hit. Mark Teixeira around third, and he'll be held right there. Rob Thompson put up the stop sign, and the bases are loaded with one out.
Well, this is pretty well documented about Teixeira and his calf, and that's all this was right here. No ability to really be able to push it. The third baseman holds him up. You could see right away there was no doubt, Cal, on what was going to go on there.
I think they made that decision early. Adam Jones throws really well, but they were aggressive last night. It cost them on the bases a couple times. A little bit more of a conservative approach with Teixeira tonight.
Teixeira himself was thrown out on a ball off the wall last night by Chris Davis. There's some major fourth inning trouble for Wei-Yin Chen. Bases loaded, one out. And the designated hitter, Eduardo Nunez, the number 9 hitter in the Yankee order, steps in.
And the problem here, he runs so well, it's gonna have to be a really hard hit ball to turn to against Nunez, who runs extremely well.
Orioles lead it 2-1, but the Yankees threatening.
This is not your situation that's late in the game, and as an infielder you need a double play, so you're going to cheat up a little closer and make sure that you get a double play. This is when you need to minimize this inning. This could potentially win or lose the game right here. You want to get out of this with as few runs or 0 runs as possible.
Shen with the 0-1 to Nunez. Not even a ball and a strike.
So even if you're tempted as a middle infielder here to really hurry and try to make a double play out of a not a real double play ball, you could complicate this inning right now. So you need to still get an out at this part of the game.
Over for a strike, 1-2.
Got the benefit of a call right there. That ball was off the plate. Of course, Joe, seeing the angle that he's got, recognizes as a former catcher where the catcher sets up and where the glove is caught. Now, if you're the pitcher, do you try to steal another inch or two in there and put pressure on the hitter to get overly aggressive on what was, in his eyes, a ball?
The reaction from Nunez on both was to kick the leg out on both of those pitches. One a ball, one a strike. Just did stay alive.
Gutsy call with a changeup. I haven't seen many of them. He gets them reaching. Game of inches. You don't want to get your decision with the bases loaded after 2-2. So you've got one pitch you can play with. Preferably get it as soon as you can. They almost got it right there on a changeup away.
Just a little blooper that Hardy will put in his pocket. That's a big out for Chen.
How tempted are you to let that one look like you're going to catch it, bounce it, and turn two? This situation too gutsy.
The temptation is for in season, about July sometime, not in the postseason. Ball could bounce anywhere, and you might surprise your other infielder too. I mean, catch that ball.
I'd call that an ordinary effort.
Oh, you had to go there, didn't you?
Well, it was an infield fly was called, and so you got 2 down, and you got the leadoff hitter, Derek Jeter, at the plate with the bases loaded. Jeter singled his first time, called out on strikes in the 3rd. He's trying to give the Yankees the lead back here in the 4th. 2-1 Baltimore.
You've seen another changeup right there. That changeup in September was probably the worst it's been for him, and I don't know if that's why he kind of confidence-wise went away from it. Hitters were hitting 348 off of it in September, and that correlates to he didn't have that good of a September. But here he's been able to show enough guts to throw it. That one was a little bit high for your liking. The one to Nunez is the area you want to get it to.
Jeter had a great swing on that too. Didn't get fooled.
Here comes the 1-1 to 3rd. Easy play from Machado, who gets the force. And Chen wiggles off the hook in the 4th. Now we move to the bottom half of the 4th inning here at Camden Yards. And the Orioles trying to tie the series. The best of 5 with the Yankees, leading at 2-1. Mark Reynolds will lead it off. Struck out his first time against Andy Pettitte. Reynolds with 23 home runs in the regular season, 7 of those coming against the Yanks. It'll be Reynolds, Tomey, and Machado here in the 4th.
You know, this is not, you don't watch the radar gun for Andy to see how he lights it up at 95 or 96 anymore. But I would watch it to see if his velocity is coming down.
On the ground in the hole, Jeter. The throw is high. And Reynolds is safe as Teixeira came off the bag.
Well, the other thing that you gotta see from Andy Pettitte as we watch this play, he gets out of the box fairly quick. Jeter, who makes this play about 99% of the time, ball just takes off on him. Tex gets up as high as he can, almost pulls it off. Is that ankle and the weather as well? You know, we talk about that broken ankle and it's being healed, but sometimes weather can get you feel a little stiff. He hasn't shown any signs of that, but he hasn't really been tested either. There hasn't been a bunt or a play at first to this point to see how he's moving around.
Jim Tomey, who did not play in game 1, flied out to left his first time. And he wants time from Angel Hernandez, and now steps back in. it inside and missed.
Here's that ground ball to Derek again. He gets over and he gets in front of it. His momentum's going a little bit away from the target. You have an option there. If a guy with speed, you can backhand it more routinely, but you got to make sure that you get down and throw the ball when you get in front of it. I mean, yes, John, he's made that play about 1,000 or 2,000 times, but that's his second error in this series.
Thome takes a strike, 1-2. Talked about all the home runs that he has hit, 612 in his career, number 7. He's hit 100 with 3 different teams, the Indians, the White Sox, and the Phillies. And he takes 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Phillies traded him to the Orioles June 30th for a couple of minor leaguers. Got 101 at bats with the O's, 3 homers and 10 RBIs. Reynolds with a lead at first. Thome waiting on Pettit, and he struck him out. Moments ago, we spoke with Yankees skipper Joe Girardi. Well, Joe, you got a well-pitched game, a great game out of CC Sabathia last night, and then Andy Pettit comes out and shuts down the first 8 he sees. Then what happened?
Well, it looked like they just, put some good at-bats on him, and then he left the ball that was kind of inside to Davis, the slider, and that was the 2 RBIs. But, you look at the ball then Andino hit. He did a good job of fighting it off, and McLeod did a good job of, hitting it up the middle as well. But I'm pleased with what I see.
Joe, the last 2 first innings have been interesting for Ichiro. He gets thrown out in the stolen base in the first game, but then have you seen him play quite like that at home plate?
Well, I recall Greg Maddux, I think, doing that one time.
Right.
That was a little while ago, but it's quite a slide by Ichiro, and turned out to be a big run.
It is the only Yankee run of the game. Orioles lead at 2-1. Machado at the plate with a runner at first. Oh, back 0-1. Called strike 2 for the 20-year-old.
I did have a chance to talk to Manny in the clubhouse, talking about how he feels playing in his first postseason, how strong he feels, and trying to suppress that strength just to be normal. That's a battle for him right now.
Pettit checks Reynolds, comes to the plate and misses.
Because as a hitter, you can't hit by trying too hard.
That ball's in the air to left, right along the line, and bending foul. So the error by Jeter in this inning that allowed Reynolds to get the first. First time since the 1996 AL Division Series that he's made errors in consecutive games in the postseason.
Well, to his defense, he had a tough hop, knocked down a ball that he made the right play on. Sometimes you get an error that you just can't control. That one, he might think about it a little bit. Maybe I should have backhanded it to get my body in a better position. Because he makes that play.
I find it interesting, as you mentioned, about Machado standing to the plate, and you try to talk yourself into it being a regular game, no big deal. The moment gets too big, and you've got to be able to execute and learn from it.
On the ground to third, nice stop by A-Rod, gets the force at second. One of those tricky little hops, and A-Rod handled it, Cal.
That was a fantastic play. He did get caught in between, but he showed that he has good hands and had the presence of mind to force the out at second base. That's just good hands. And Cano knows this is not a double play ball. Let me just take the force. Alex must have been a shortstop sometime before.
Here's Andino with 2 down.
That is the difference between short and third. Sometimes you get caught in between. You can't back up. You can't come forward. You just have to try to make a play.
As you remember the All-Star game when he shoved you off a third and back to short, Cal.
I didn't like him very much for that.
Nice breaking pitch by Pettit. Ball and a strike.
Andy and his fastball's away, just missing a little bit more than he did early on. He was crisp early. They've gotten him out of the stretch a couple times. Sometimes when you're in nice rhythm in the windup, you don't tell yourself, I don't care if I ever pitch out of the stretch. Making the adjustments, getting that fastball closer to look like a strike and be able to effectively throw that curveball and then that cutter.
That was not the great Pettit move that he just showed Machado. See if he saves something for him. Right back up the middle, but right at Cano, who gets the force at second. And that does it for the Orioles in the fourth. 2-1 game as we go to the fifth. Top 5 in Baltimore. Orioles leading the Yankees 2-1. And Ichiro will lead it off for New York. Just a little tapper. Chen throws him out. Moments ago, we spoke with Orioles manager Buck Showalter. All right, Buck, it's been the source of a lot of talk up here in the booth.
You guys running out of things to talk about?
We'd like to hear about this J.J. Hardy, an explanation on what happened at third base.
I know. What do you got?
We had the replay a lot of ways.
I wish I had a few replays. I know it was coming. No, DeMarlo's one of the best third base coaches in baseball. I've had some really good ones, but J.J.'s one of our better base runners. The only thing you do is kind of glance over your shoulder a little bit. You know, that's one of those plays that's really tough to read. You know, Jeter makes that play more times than not. And we got, you just can't assume anything. JJ's good base runner, and DeMarlo's good there, so I trust their judgment.
Hey, Buck, Chen started out throwing a lot of fastballs, and it seemed like the Yankee hitters were having some good swings on him. But since then, he started to change speeds. What do you think of his secondary pitches?
Well, that's kind of the mode that he goes in, and not exactly squaring him up. But we're hoping Ichiro hadn't hit a ball hard yet with 2 knocks, but we shouldn't feel like he's picking on us. He does that to everybody. Says such great back control, but yeah, that's kind of way he goes about it. And Matty does a great job of reading guys' swings when they're in swing mode, and he'll slow them down when it's time to slow them down.
Our thanks to Buck Showalter for spending a couple of minutes between innings.
He seems a bit uptight in the dugout, if you ask me.
1-0 the count to Robinson Cano as Chen retired the first 2. 1 pitch apiece. And that is a mighty easy inning. Count of 1, 2, 3, 4 pitches. We move to the bottom half of the 5th inning here on TBS. Thanks for being with us on this Monday night for Game 2 of the ALDS between the Orioles and the Yankees. Andy Pettit into the line facing the Orioles leadoff hitter Nate McLouth. In the regular season, the Orioles and the Yankees were the top 2 home run hitting teams in baseball. New York with 245, a new franchise record. And that ball is under the glove of Teixeira, but it hits the first base umpire, Brian Dorman. Was saying these are the top 2 home run hitting teams in baseball with 245 and 214. They've hit 1 in this series, but look at this play. Teixeira usually automatic, and then the kick save by Gorman.
Certainly, yeah, the ground ball comes down the line here. It looks like it takes a small bad hop. Let's see a real close look. Looks like he goes a little left. Yep, and he tries to get to it, but it's too close to him to actually make that reaction. Small bad hop. The normal fan won't see that, and he'll just think he missed the ball. But that ball took a little bad hop.
Second Yankee error of the night.
Maybe he should have blocked it, though, so he had a second chance instead of the umpire.
J.J. Hardy walked his last time and was right in the middle of that crazy play in which he held at third on a ball that went past Derek Jeter and into left field.
Well, to back up your first point, Ernie, only since 1985, one team that led Major League Baseball in home runs has won the World Series. And the team to do it, the 2009 Yankees. When you get to this time of the year, you're facing 1, 2s, and 3s, sometimes an occasional 4. A 3-run homer that helps your ball club in the regular season. You got to be more creative. You got to make and we're seeing a team yesterday in the Yankees that executed when they had to, and you got to play a little bit more small ball, which they've done. That's why they got Ichiro. Unfortunately, Gardner has not been part of the mix, which is a big part of their speed and create runs without a home run. But you get this time of the year, more than likely you're going to see these kind of games.
The Orioles with 11 runs in the postseason and none via the home run. Hardy again fouls it straight back.
You guys are both going to think I'm a little nuts when I say this.
Yeah,
but
we do. No, go ahead.
The ball coming out of the grass, and a grass that's cross-cut, sometimes develops spin. And then when it hits a harder surface, it goes left or right. And so that hop right there is sort of a side hop, which you can go up and down in. But that does happen.
You sound like a guy who speaks from experience at this yard, Cal.
Well, if you've ever seen a ball snake, John, have you ever seen a ball snake?
All the time in the outfield shagging.
So that's what happens is the cross cut goes through and the grass is a way that makes the ball snake towards you. And outfielders have a tough time charging it aggressively to throw runners out of home plate. But it does happen in the infield as well.
And J.J. Hardy is called out on strikes for the first out of the 5th.
So the ball starts in the dirt, then hits the grass, and then might have put a little side spin on it, and it goes a little to his left, to your right. It's a subtle little bounce, but if you've ever bounced a super ball on a blacktop, and then it comes down and hits the second bounce, that's an extreme example of what might happen.
And you know the fans were up in arms when the ball hit Brian Gorman over there, but really the ball was deflected as Davis lofts a fly ball to center, which Granderson will handle. But Brian Gorman was positioned well. That ball just ricocheted right at him. There was very little room to move. It's not like the ball went right through the wickets on Teixeira. He did deflect it.
Well, you always look to blame the umpire any chance you can, but that wasn't his fault.
Well, Davis, who had knocked in the 2 Baltimore runs, flies out, and here is Adam Jones.
I'm interested to see how he responds after getting a hit. If that frees him up and relaxes him at the plate, and allows him to look to drive a ball.
Foul down the third base line.
He looked a little relaxed on that swing.
It was Jones who singled past Jeter on that play in which J.J. Hardy got deked, stuck at third while his third base coach DeMarlo Hale was waving him home. And he would not score in that inning. It's a 2-1 game, Baltimore. No balls and 2 strikes to the Orioles cleanup hitter.
That was a nice changeup right there. Andy wasn't known for his changeup years ago, but he certainly picked up a pretty good one right now.
Throw over. McLeod is back. Really speaks to the longevity of Pettit's career. The fact that you guys can talk about him from firsthand playing against him, and then you look down in the dugout and you got your manager Joe Girardi, who used to catch him.
And Buck used to manage him.
McLeod on the run. Ball hit to right. Swisher on. and puts it away for the third out. Another good tight ball game between these two. Remember last night it was 2-2 going to the ninth. We're in the sixth in a 2-1 game. The Orioles lead it as Nick Swisher leads it off against Chen. Can't believe there was no reaction from Smoltz on would you care to weigh in on Chen. Very disappointing.
I'm sorry.
Swisher takes a strike. 1-1. Chen faced the Yankees 4 times in the regular season. He was 1-2. Those 2 losses both coming in September on consecutive starts. And in the second one, they really roughed him up. 7 earned runs in 4 2/3. And they hit 3 home runs off of it. But tonight he's working with a 2-1 lead. The only New York run coming in the first.
Well, the philosophy that he had, and many of that come abroad in Taiwan, he pitches with more rest. He's bought into the American system. Buck believes next year he's going to be stronger and better and really relish in a 5-man rotation. But with 6 days rest, we've told you his numbers. He definitely looks fresher, and it's paying off as they hope that he can give him a few more innings like he's done the first 5.
That fastball at 91, interesting when we were talking to Buck Showalter before the game about the fastball that he throws.
Well, it's a fastball that, as a manager, I asked him, what can you tell seeing him for the first time? He said, well, the hitters are going to tell you. He goes after the way they go after his pitches, meaning his fastball has late life. And that late life don't listen to the radar gun. The hitters are going to tell you that late life is he gets a lot of swings and misses and fly balls.
They got a ground ball there on to Nick Swisher for the first out in the 6th.
And we asked Joe Girardi the same thing facing him. He said he has 2 or 3 or 4 more miles an hour on his fastball than what it reads.
Here's Teixeira with 1 down, and he takes a strike.
That certainly is the late life you were talking about.
Yeah.
That ball in the air to left center field. McLeod wraps it up. 2 down. Game 2 of the ALDS. Tomorrow a travel day. And then games 3, 4, and 5 would be in New York.
Now that front that came through here, Ernie, the blimp had a little issue. We talk about the miles per hour and what it can fly in, so I'm still going to get up there. Fly this.
Might be blimp. A nice way to spend your day off tomorrow.
I'll meet you guys over there taking the blimp while you take the train.
The 1-1 to Russell Martin. Got a big old cut but came up empty. Russell Martin's such a buzzkill. This play's going nuts, and he just stepped out. As for time, it's just a wonderful setting here on these October nights where baseball is still being played in the 2012 playoffs. 1 ball, 2 strike pitch. Earlier today, the St. Louis Cardinals evening things up against the Washington Nationals. And the Orioles trying to even things up with the Yankees here at Camden Yards. Check the NL bracket over here, Cal, and of course the Cardinals, the reigning champions after beating the Braves, and then got out the sticks today tie things up. Cincinnati leading 2-0 with those 2 wins at San Francisco.
It's looking more and more like basketball over here in the monitor. And John, where's this one?
Well, it's a little bit low, but the pitch tracks has got it right across the bottom part of the zone. So
the 3-2 hit hard and right through the wicket at short. Is normally a sure thing, but that one went right through J.J. Hardy.
He hasn't had too many errors. This ball skips on him and stays down. The natural tendency is to come up. Came up a little too soon. The ball didn't bounce.
Well, here's Curtis Granderson.
This is not Friday the 13th, is it? Some weird stuff are happening in this game.
Starting to feel that way. Hardy had 1 error in his last 70 games. I think that was against the Yankees as well.
Well, the Yankees trying to cash in on that 2-out error here in the 6th. Martin with a lead at first, and Granderson waits. Popped him up. Foul territory, and Machado makes the play. The error doesn't hurt. It's a 2-1 game. We're heading to the bottom of the 6th. Bottom half of the 6th inning. Orioles with their 2-1 lead over the Yankees. Andy Pettitte, who goes to work against Matt Wieters. Wieters 0 for 2 in this one, and now 0 for 10 in the postseason. 2 games plus. Cal, you've seen this kid develop in the short time he's been in the big leagues, and what have you seen in that time?
Matty Wieters?
Yes, sir. There's a base hit. His first of this postseason. Granderson will corral it, and Wieters will be into second with a leadoff double in the 6th.
Well, switch hitting catcher, good size, can throw. He came to the big leagues probably a little green, and he's continued to take more and more charge of the. We talked about Buck Showalter talking about putting the right fingers down, slowing him down, speeding him up. But his hitting has become more and more consistent. He's starting to drive in runs. He'll be a 100 RBI guy in the big leagues.
2-time All-Star in this his 4th season. And he's on at second with nobody out here in the 6th. Here's Mark Reynolds.
Question I have, for as big as he is behind the plate, how long does he stay there before he either moves out to first base or DHs?
I guess they had big shortstops, and sometimes they had to move to third. I like him there because he can throw, and to have the mind and the brain behind home plate. Yeah. I'd like to see him get down on one knee a little bit and try to get some of those low pitches that we see, because when you're a big guy, 6'5", it's hard to get that low one. He's extremely athletic, though.
That ball's hit the other way and past Cano into right field. Wieters is around third. He will score without a throw. It's 3-1 Baltimore.
To me, this is the ultimate reward for playing the game the right way. He consciously gets the ball to the right side, gets the runner over, gets the bonus of getting a hit as well. These kind of things are so important in postseason. Making the next guy contribute and aiding to your team's success. He did it perfectly there and got rewarded with a hit.
Last night, Adam Jones was in that same situation, and he didn't get the... Now he's facing CC Sabathia. CC Sabathia made some really great pitches, but you're right, that's the difference. What would have happened if he did last night? I would add to that real quick. It shortens your swing. And sometimes if you're trying to do too much, all of a sudden now in your mind you said, all I have to do is hit a ball to the right side. Shortens it, and good things happen.
Big Jim Thome waiting on Andy Pettitte. Russell Martin smothered that one. 1-0.
There's certain things you can sense being in this environment. This crowd has been patient yesterday. They waited 2.5 hours. The game was great all the way to the 9th. You can almost sense that they're looking for a chance to really erupt and get some breathing room as they know their team's about to leave, go to New York, and the only way they get to see them again is if they can take care of business in New York.
Missed inside, 2 balls and no strikes. We're talking about combined 82 years on the mound and at the plate in this at bat. 42-year-old Jim Thome and 40-year-old Andy Pettitte. He turned on that.
But you hear the crowd, they're waiting for anything. I mean, they were ready to go right there on a ball that was 80 feet foul.
We saw Larry Rothschild on the phone. The Yankees pitching coach, and Jabba Chamberlain gets up. 2 balls and a strike to Thome.
Thome's always had a really good idea of the strike zone. For a big, strong, power-hitting guy like Alex, it is amazing that he takes the ball inside, and he is very patient. Good on-base percentage, but he wants to swing the bat.
Yeah, away and down is where a little bit of the kryptonite exists. There isn't much, but away and down. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't sweep something right here in that same area and go to a slider. The interesting question is going to be, does the runner wait till he goes to home and then take off and not get picked off, or do they keep him at first?
Payoff pitch to Thome. Fouled away, and we'll do it again.
Yeah, it's tough to get a jump. Even in a 3-2 situation right here, it is really tough to get a jump on Andy. So again, that's one of those intangibles that you can't even start the runner on 3-2. He controls the running game with that pickoff move.
83 pitches for the Yankee left-hander. And another payoff pitch due to Thome. And he got him swinging for the second time tonight.
Well, away is the only chance you have against a guy who has hit 600+ home runs, and he paints them away. Looks like a fastball, maybe a tiny cut to it. And he does get the strikeout after falling behind 3-1.
5th strikeout of the night for Pettitte. 1 walk. And now here's a guy who's half his age, Manny Machado. Right back to Pettitte. There's 1, 2. An inning-ending double play. But Pettitte does surrender another run. Mark Reynolds knocking in Matt Wieters. It's 3-1. I don't write them, I just read them. We are moving to the top half of the 7th inning. Eduardo Nunez leads it off. Chen delivers down low, 2 balls and no strikes. So the young left-hander, the rookie, who spent 4 seasons pitching in Japan, works in the 7th inning here in a game the Baltimore Orioles desperately need, trying to tie this best-of-5 up at a game apiece. You been impressed, John?
I have. Tremendous. I guess the word I'd use, he's got a lot of guts. You know, he may not show a lot of emotions, but he's got a lot of guts. He's stuck with a game plan, then deviated. I think him and Wieters have done a nice job mixing up pitches when it looked like the Yankees came out of the chute just really ready for his fastball. And he's held his he's held his own.
He's the only member of that rotation for the Orioles with more than 20 starts this year, 32 of them. Nunez took 2, 3, 4 steps toward first, and now will make the slow walk back as Angel Hernandez called the strike.
You know, we've had a few of these in the game. The umpires have done a nice job, but there's been a couple that have been close that have changed certain at-bats. The 9th inning was one before Jim Johnson gave up the home run. You just have to be able to come back, make pitches.
3-2 pitch, a blooper, shallow right. Davis with the dive, can't make the play, and Nunez never stopped. Great hustling here in the 7th to lead it off with a double.
In this case, it worked out better for the Yankees. He was walking to first base, and now he's standing on second after he puts the ball in place in the perfect place.
It jams this ball out there, runs right away. He's hopeful it's going to be one of those, and great effort by Chris Davis here, but the dive causes the advancement to second base. And certainly, I'd rather have that guy on first base with the double play in order than a guy on second base with no outs. Great hustle.
You saw Nunez, his speed coming into play last night also as a pinch runner when he scored from third with a head-first slide on a ball hit in the infield. Davis went all out for that one. But the Yankees have the leadoff hitter at second here in the 7th. And the top of the order, Derek Jeter.
I was trying to think along with Buck at the start of this inning. And after 6, you can go to your bullpen. You have 2 right-handers leading off and a lefty. And Darren down in the bullpen has thrown really, really well. But the longer you get into the game, the more options you have in the back end of that bullpen, the more matchups you can go through. So he's going with Chen.
And Chen is ahead of Jeter 0-2.
Well, if you want to talk about a competitive person and a fierce person, when you see right here his reaction, that is knowing how important that one run is, and he's sitting there talking about being able to put the ball over the plate, and you'll see right there words over the plate, and then he shows one more burst. We missed it right there. One more burst of adrenaline. This is a guy who's been in so many of these games. He realizes that one run could come to be loom large for the Yankees.
Yeah, it gave him a 3-1 lead going to the 7th as Jeter stays alive as he fouls it at the plate.
Especially now that Nunez is on second. You could play this entirely different. You might drop a bunt down. You might move the runner over. Now you're down 2.
Well, he's a perfectionist, and he always wants to be able to make the pitch on the given time. He felt that the pitch probably got too much of the plate on the leadoff double, and that, of course, led to the extra run. But it's hard to be perfect all the time. Got to give the other guys some credit sometimes.
Jeter singled on an 0-2 pitch in the first. Here comes the 0-2, and he stays alive.
Whatever happened to nobody's perfect?
No.
Including Andy. He's pitched pretty perfectly in the postseason, though.
Yeah, Pettit looking for his 20th postseason win. Already sets the standard at 19-10, but the Orioles not cooperating here at Camden Yards. Jeter waits for another 0-2 from Chen. A line drive over the head of Hardy at short. Nunez is going to be waved, and there will be no play. It's a 3-2 game.
We've seen Jeter go to right field on a lot of pitches that are in. This time he pulls his hands in and actually gets a base hit rather than worry about getting the hitter over. Down by 2, he drives him in himself and keeps the rally going. Great job by Jeter.
He pulls his hands in here. He's the best at what most people refer to as staying inside the ball right now. Pulling your hands in allows you to get the barrel of the bat, more of the barrel of the bat to the ball, which pushes that ball out to left field. Nate McLeod did a nice job of not attempting to throw home, by the way, to keep Jeter on first.
Nunez can fly.
Ichiro shortened up to bunt, took it 0-1. So Jeter, who led the major leagues in hits, has 4 in this series. 2 last night, 2 tonight. Ichiro's 1 out of 3. Reached on an error and danced around Wieters to score the first New York run in the first. There's the speedy Nunez. Buck Showalter's troops still leading. But just by 1 over Joe Girardi's bunch. Did you ever? Ichiro squares again, bunts foul, and it's 0-2.
If you're Joe Girardi, you got to be really, really happy that Pettit has gotten you to this point. Gives him so many more options. Even though CC pitched deep into the game last night, he was ready, but now it gives him many, many more options from this point forward.
Chen ahead 0-2. Jeter with the lead at first as Ichiro waits.
I've noticed that miles per hour fastballs come back when it gets down there around 90 or sometimes 89. That extra 2 or 3 miles an hour, that extra burst on the end, at least the feeling kind of goes away.
Ichiro can foul off so many good fastballs. You'd be tempted to throw something slow and sweeping away and see if he can't pull it to the second baseman. They went up and changed his eye levels, but he does move towards first base and keep his hands back as best as anybody, but he'll spoil so many pitches that it drives you nuts and actually will bait you into sometimes what he wants. Pitcher gets frustrated when you keep throwing fastballs and he fouls them away.
I can tell.
I'm frustrated.
The 1-2 reaches out, slats it to short. Hardy for 1 and to first, not in time.
And see, that's the right idea. You got to get something slow and get him to reach. But what he does so well is gets down that's a double play for anybody. And look how quick he gets down the line. The only chance is maybe if he hits that ball to second and that turn comes a little quicker. But that, all you can ask is a pitcher, and Buck's probably going to take him out. What a great job. Listen to the crowd reward him for his effort.
Much like last night when Jason Hamill got the great ovation. Listen to this for Chen. Aaron O'Day is on.
Aaron O'Day, I'll tell you what, that record reflects how nasty he can be. I mean, side armor specialist, but he can throw to righties and lefties. He's got a riser, a slurve, a frisbee, a fastball, and I'm sure a changeup. But he is in a big spot right here against A-Rod.
And in this postseason, he's been daring every day. 3rd game for the Orioles this postseason. That wild card win against Texas. And this is game 2 of the ALDS, and he makes his 3rd appearance. He will face Alex Rodriguez. Robinson Cano is in the on-deck circle. Brian Mattis, a left-hander, getting loose in the Oriole pen. Wheels are turning here in the 7th in a 1-run game. A-Rod takes upstairs 1-0.
I got caught staring at Ichiro because I expect him to go. He's out there trying to read him. A pretty large lead.
Nunez led off the inning with a hustling double and scored on Jeter's single that cut the lead to 1. Not going. As A-Rod swings through it, 1-1.
That might have changed my mind. He might not be going. No indications right there. He could be setting him up, though.
After an 0 for 4 opener, Rodriguez 1 for 3 tonight. There goes Ichiro, and the ball is fouled away.
Wow, he had it stolen too. I know as a hitter you're looking to drive a pitch that you like to see. But in that case right there, it was hands down and stolen.
Yeah, I don't think that was a hit and run that they put on, but I think Alex might have tried to make that a hit and run. It looked like he tried to take a shot that way. The whole right side of the infield was open. It sounds weird saying that, but he has that kind of bat control.
A ball and 2 strikes. High and away, count even.
When you have somebody like this that throws from the side and can sink and get you into a double play situation, I liked to have the runner on first base running. I'm going to hit a lot of ground balls anyway. Let me shoot one to where there might be a vacant hole and go first to third. There's the frisbee.
There goes Ichiro, and again the pitch fouled back. That is Yankees third base coach Rob Thompson. Flashing signs to Ichiro at first. He's there with 1 down and 1 in here in the 7th.
Every once in a while, I mean, this is not going to be, most right-handers don't have the ability to pick off the runner at first, but what you do have the ability to do is change your times. Hold one time at the plate, just hold, mess up the runner at first, and the hitter will call time. Next time, be quick. Vary your times and deliveries to home is the only way you can mess up the timing of a base steal.
A-Rod tried to check his swing, and Brian Gorman said he did. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, again, yesterday he had some incredible takes on pitches that are breaking away from, and not pulling the trigger, drawing a walk. Let's see if he doesn't go back to the heater up in the zone.
The 3-2 pitch from Darren O'Day. There goes Ichiro. Struck him out, but did not throw him out. Ichiro in with a stolen base.
It was interesting, JJ. I was trying to watch the coverage, and Andino kind of looked surprised. He took the coverage because he can wait there a little longer.
Look at this pitch sequence right here. The high fastball riding up. There's the good slider right there, let's call it. Fastball in, cuts, fastball up. He takes this one right here and fouls off the next one. And then that's the good take. Now he makes this pitch look in the strike zone a lot longer to be able to sweep it away from it. When a ball starts in the strike zone to a hitter's eye and then sweeps, you're more apt to go after it. When it starts away and sweeps, you have the ability maybe to take a little bit easier.
Well, O'Day was brought on to get A-Rod. He struck him out. Ichiro at second, representing the tying run as the O's go to the pen again. All right, thank you very much, Matt. Back here at Camden Yards, and Brian Mattis, the third Oriole pitcher. And he has always been brought on in these really difficult situations. Robbie Cano at the plate, he's going to intentionally walk him. But the other night in the wild card game, he struck out Josh Hamilton. He coaxed a grounder out of Cano last night and then got 2 more strikeouts in the inning.
Yeah, I wish I knew who the author of R-E-S-P-E-C-T is. That Aretha Franklin?
Yeah, that would be.
Okay, well, that's what this is right here.
It's the ultimate respect.
Yeah.
There's ball 4, the intentional pass to Cano. You're a piece of work, man.
It looks like Swisher has taken it personally, but no, it's not intended that way. You don't let Cano beat him.
Not a guy who came into the series hitting .615 over his last 9 games. Now Swisher faced Mattis last night, then took a called 3rd strike. He bats now with runners at first and second in a 1-run game.
And this is where everything gets magnified in a small sample, but this bigger sample for Swisher, 1 for 32. 1 for his last 32 in the postseason with runners in scoring position.
And that ball gets through Wieters. It hit that wall back there and came right back to him.
That is a brick wall back there, and sometimes it will carry him back. He almost had a play.
Can be really beneficial if a runner's trying to score from 3rd.
Very difficult to score from 3rd here. It's close, and the ball will bounce off. I've seen many times where games have ended on plays at the plate, similar to that here in Camden Yards.
It's ruled a wild pitch, and it puts runners at 2nd and 3rd for Swisher. Not even a ball and a strike.
I can't say that he was crossed up. It looked like he just didn't quite get down to get that. And normally wild pitches or fastballs don't end up in the dirt. It's normally the breaking balls.
Tried to check his swing. And again, Brian Gorman says he did not go.
That was a great breaking ball after a good heater, and just too low to have Swisher actually go after it. And of course, everybody, in case you forget, is going to remind you to ask.
What do you think, John? Did he go or not?
I don't think he went that time. Sometimes we follow the elbows and not the bat. It looks bigger than it is.
The 2-1, a breaking pitch over. Count even, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
We've seen this situation, I'm sorry, before, and he's got a really good heater. After he's thrown a couple good breaking balls, he has blown away some great hitters with his fastball. See what he goes to, 2-2.
Tying run at 3rd, go-ahead run at 2nd. Full count.
Now I'd almost switch up and go 3-2, get the hitter thinking more aggressive, throw that hard breaking ball in the zone, see if you can get the swing and miss with a base open and Tex up. You have that option.
The 3-2. Fly ball left field. Easy for McLeod. Mattis gets out of that jam. The Yankees cut the gap, but the Orioles still lead. Bottom half of the 7th inning, and the number 9 hitter leads it off for Baltimore. Robert Andino against Andy Pettitte.
I'm still surprised no one has tried to bunt on him or do anything different than the traditional swing away. Andy Pettitte coming off that broken ankle, not had to do much, go to first or cover any ground. But we're in the 7th inning, so trying to hit their way on.
Off speed, grounded to short. Jeter throws him out for the first out here in the 7th. You look at Andy Pettitte in the 3 games he pitched since coming off the disabled list. 75 pitches and then 88 and then 94. He's thrown 87 tonight as he pitches here in the bottom half of the 7th inning.
Jeter was complaining on that ground ball that bounced up too. So the infield has looked smooth to our eyes up here, but must have some little bumpiness to it, and the balls aren't reacting the way they fielders normally would see that.
You certainly read his mind the right way. Wow, he was saying. And, the ball, even a routine ball like that, he said was bouncing a little funny. And many times when you do have tarps on, tarps off, but they hit on the field today. So normally you would get enough water in the field for that to happen.
Here's Nate McLouth. 2 balls and no strikes. Another look. Cal.
There's the ball coming off the grass, 2 or 3 hops. Whoops.
See that last bounce catches him in the heel.
Yeah, I don't think that it just took a few extra hops, and all of a sudden he couldn't play the big hop he wanted.
McLouth, who knocked in 2 runs last night, has scored 1 tonight. And this is a lazy fly ball to center that Curtis Granderson wraps up for the second out. Again, Larry Rothschild, the Yankees pitching coach, with the open lines of communication to the Yankee bullpen.
It's interesting. Both managers have a tough task when trying to figure out what do you do with your starter. But Joe just has guys with more resume, more history. Whereas Buck's trying to figure out how do you push the envelope? How far do you go with the guy? He's got a bullpen that's been outstanding all year. But Joe has been able to ride out 2 horses really and just keep them in the game and then look for that magic for their offense like they had yesterday.
1-1 pitch.
So
misses.
What you're saying is Joe, when he looks at Sabathia and Pettit, he has a lot more confidence taking them deeper in the ball game.
Yeah.
Toward short. Jeter gobbles it up, and Teixeira makes the play at first. That's an easy inning for Andy Pettit. 1, 2, 3 in the 7th. Another good one going on here at Camden Yards. Zipping right along here at Camden Yards. Top half of the 8th inning. Brian Mattis to face Mark Teixeira, the switch hitter, who takes a strike. And we repeat this stat you've probably heard down the stretch as far as this Orioles team going. And I'm not saying it's the 1-run game thing. It's the 74-0 leading after 7 innings. And they have a 3-2 lead here in the 8th. And they extended that in the first game, the wild card game. So if you're counting at home, it's 75-0 for these Orioles.
Well, they had the highest winning percentage in 1-run games since 1900. About a 765 clip. Going 29-9. That's impressive.
Mattis ahead of Teixeira. A ball and 2 strikes, and the count even.
They had to go extra innings to keep that record perfect a couple times. And they darn near have a perfect record in extra innings as well.
Yep, 16-2. 16 wins in extra innings in a row. There's a bullet hit by Teixeira to left. McLouth with the backhand, and Teixeira will retreat to first. Again, we've talked about the left calf injury that he is coming back from. And McLouth did a good job of keeping this ball from going to the wall.
Yeah, he cut it off. And I tell you what, I was watching Teixeira because he was running good out of the box and he wanted to go to second base. Nate, nice turn right there. You can see his throw coming in forced Tex to go back to first base. He wanted to get a double there.
So Teixeira with a leadoff single. And Russell Martin takes a strike. course, last night in a 2-2 game in the 9th inning. Martin, who says he loves situations like this, delivered. Solo homer, broke the tie, and then the Yankees broke it open with 4 more in the 9th. The 1-1 misses outside. 2 balls and a strike.
I know this sounds crazy, but the first at bat of this inning, you get to 0-2 so easy, and then you're like, now what? Because he took those 2 pitches, 2 good curveballs, and then you try to make them better and better and better, and you work into a 2-2 count.
As we can see that by that last picture, Mark Reynolds is not even holding Teixeira on. So they have no feeling that Texas is going to take off, and they're going to play the advantage of playing behind him. Not holding the runner on and covering that hole in the right side.
The 2-2, strike 3 call to Martin. 1 down.
All right, I'm a pitcher, and I know that Mr. Martin has a beef on this one. This pitch is, we look at the pitch sequence. First fastball on the outer part of the plate, then he goes in, and then he's going to throw a breaking ball that maybe catches but doesn't. Fastball, cutter in, and then that pitch right there off the plate, set up by the swing and miss, cutter in. He got the call. Good job by Wieters. And Mattis going right back in there.
Mattis struck out Curtis Granderson in his 1 inning of work last night. That came in the 8th. There it is, 8th inning again. Mattis and Granderson, 1 out, and Teixeira with a lead at first. Popped up into foul territory. Does Wieters have any room? No, he does not. 7 or 8 rows back.
Sorry, Ernie. Granderson certainly has good numbers. 6 for 19, 4 homers off of Brian Mattis, but most of that is damage is done when he was a starter. I think Curtis got him once in New York as a reliever.
Another 0-2 count. Curtis fouled off a pitcher's pitch. It's paint on the black. See, again, you open up both sides of the plate when you expand the fastball out there, and you've already shown you could throw a curveball for a strike 1. And see how much they can take on the outer part of the plate.
And Granderson goes down swinging for the 2nd out.
I know they have high hopes right now for this kid to be a starter. He possesses 4 great pitches. That's a nasty curveball that never even came close to throwing for a strike. But when it came out of his hand, you have to respect the fastball. And as a hitter, you're seeing that ball up, but then the depth of that break fooled Granderson.
So after a leadoff single by Teixeira, he's still out there as Martin and Granderson struck out. And Nunez is behind 0-1. He doubled in the 7th and scored the 2nd New York run.
You talk about Chen's fastball having that extra little foot. Brian Mattis has the same thing.
How about this, John? Another 0-2 count.
Well, he gets there quick. He really does. He's got electric stuff. His crowd has got electric stuff right now.
John, when you're pitching in a situation like this, I don't know how you keep the emotions under control, how you keep it in check.
Well, I mean, there's no doubt that you want to feel like you could throw a fastball through the catcher, and you just got to remind yourself, make a pitch. That was a good 0-2 curveball. Nothing bad can happen that. Slow the hitter's eyes down. You just can't get that carried away with the crowd. I know it's easier said than done, but your tendencies are, oh, you're in there and you're like, yeah, let's get this crowd going even more crazy. What you don't want is that lull in the crowd after you've delivered a pitch and rev them back up later.
1-2. Made him dance inside. And the count even at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Nunez exchanged bats. I was trying to figure out how he broke his bat in between there. But it certainly did take the crowd out of the action there for a minute.
In the air, behind first, Mark Reynolds. A leadoff single, but nothing else for the Yankees as we go to the bottom half of the 8th. Orioles trying to tie the series at a game apiece, lead at 3-2 as we go to the bottom half of the 8th inning. Ernie Johnson, Cal Ripken, John Smoltz. Can't say enough about the starting pitching on both sides in this series. It's been sensational.
It really has, and I mean, you're seeing 2 of the horses for the Yankees. They're back out there in the 8th inning, and then the Orioles are piecing it together.
And put it back out there, bottom half of the 8th. And the first pitch to Chris Davis is a bullet to center.
Cal, that's just going up there knowing you're going to get that pitch, and then when you get it, you don't miss it.
So again, here it comes right here. Looking for a cutter, a little slider. He's great on the first pitch. He swings the bat. When he swings the bat, he is great on the first pitch. And yeah, I'm sure each of the other bats set up what he wanted to look for right there.
Andy Pettitte, what an effort in his 43rd postseason start. Bottom half of the 8th inning, David Robertson on in relief of Andy Pettitte.
David Robertson, before he got hurt, he had an incredible stretch of pitching where he doesn't throw anything straight. Everything cuts. He just said, I can't throw it straight. So he's used that cutter, that Mariano Rivera-like cutter, to his advantage. Getting better and better the more he goes back out there.
Endy Chavez, the pinch runner for Chris Davis, who opened the 8th with a line single. You talk about a guy who just flat out competes. Andy Pettitte. And now he just watches as Adam Jones comes to the plate. Nobody out, 1 on in a 1-run game. Remember, Jones came to the plate in the 8th inning last night with J.J. Hardy at second. Could not move him over, struck out for the first out. And they went to the 9th, tied at 2. That's when the Yankees took over. Here they lead 3-2 in the 8th. Chavez at first, but nobody out. And Robertson jumps ahead quickly, 0-2.
2 good curveballs, 12-6 type curveballs, along with that cut fastball. So he slowed him down to get to 0-2. See if he doesn't rise one up there, cut one away on an 0-2 pitch to change his eye level, or just go with the 3rd straight curveball.
Nice stop by Martin, scrambling to keep that ball in front.
I know a lot of people get credit, and Buck deserves all the credit as well as some other people, but Andy MacPhail really, before he resigned, got this team to where they're at. I mean, he traded for Adam Jones, Hardy, Reynolds, Andino, Tillman, Steve Johnson, Pedro Strop. I mean, he put together this team, and he's got to feel pretty good about, even though he's not part of it right now, that he had a big hand in what this team has been able to do under the leadership of Buck.
Here comes the 1-2.
Yeah, I know Andy takes pride in what he was able to do, how he was able to align the rebuilding process. He put a couple people up, Tejada and Bedard, to land big guys coming back. Adam Jones came back, so certainly I'm sure he's sitting watching this telecast very proud of the team that he was able to help assemble.
He drafted Bundy, Machado, Mattis, and signed Matt Wieters, so that's a big chunk of who's out here doing what they're doing now in October.
Just a little tapper that Robertson fields. Gets the out at first. And Chavez moves to second.
That check swing was a productive out.
I'm wondering, Robertson jumped on that so quick. I don't even think he took a glance to second to see if there was a play, but made up his mind and got the easy out at first.
I know Adam wasn't too happy with it. He's certainly getting another guy in scoring position and 2 cracks at getting a little insurance run. I'm sure Buck is happy about that.
Here's Matt Wieters. Doubled and scored his last time. With that double, he snapped out of an 0 for 10 cold spell here in the playoffs. An insurance run out there at second.
A lot of breaking balls, John.
Yeah, not accustomed to seeing it, but he's working on some kind of scouting report that's been successful. Guys know that normally they're going to come after you with cutters, and he's throwing some really, really great breaking balls.
Well, I can understand Adam Jones, who's gotten him deep twice, big home run, and he's a good fastball hitter. And clearly Adam was coming up there looking to come out of his shoes on the first 2. Was fooled bad by the breaking ball.
Robertson's not very big in stature, but he actually, when he releases the ball, is closer to home plate with his stride. That gives the appearance that the ball is more on top of you than, let's say, a taller guy that doesn't have as long of a stride.
Rounded up toward first, right over the bag, and Teixeira makes the play. That could have gotten interesting if that ball had clipped the bag. The runner moves to third, now 2 outs. Take a look at this, Cal.
Yeah, we saw a few bad hops tonight, but I don't know how you can play and predict that the ball is going to hit. Just goes over the bag. Tex is in good position. You better believe Tex was anticipating that might hit the bag.
Speaking of anticipating, the first 2 hitters have seen nothing but breaking balls since he's come in. Does Reynolds anticipate a breaking ball and look to drive one higher up in the zone?
Runner at third and 2 outs.
I think he was anticipating a breaking ball and got surprised on the fastball.
Had a notion and held up in the 6th inning after the Wieters double. It was Reynolds going the other way, and as you said at the time, guys, he was rewarded for going the other way. The ball that got past Cano knocked in the run, and at that point made it 3-1. Now it's 3-2. Orioles trying to pad that lead with Chavez at third and 2 out. Nice pitch, 1 and 2.
I still can't believe we're talking about small ball with these 2 teams. The way that they went after each other during the regular season, the home runs that they hit. And we're talking about moving a runner over and getting rewarded in this series.
A ball and 2 strikes. And Reynolds goes down swinging to end the 8th. Last night, the Yankees roughed up Jim Johnson. Tonight, he'll take the mound with a lead. Well, the guy who had 51 saves in the regular season, Jim Johnson, is on, and Indy Chavez stays in the game in right field. But Smoltzy, you know better than anybody that mentality of a relief pitcher of having really no memory at all. A night like last night happens, you got to erase it. As Jeter leads it off in the ninth and grounds to Hardy, 1 down.
Well, you know what helps erase a memory? Getting the very first guy out in the ninth inning in your next game. They know he's going to throw strikes. They're going to go up there looking for the best possible pitch to hit. And when he's been successful, that's what happens. Ground ball, ground ball, ground ball.
He came on last night in a 2-2 game. Gave up a home run to Russell Martin and then 4 more runs. The Yankees took game 1 7-2. Now in a save situation. Orioles leading 3-2. Here's Ichiro.
You know what else a closer knows when he comes into the ninth facing the top of the order? Do not get to Cano. You already know that. So getting that first guy, getting that second guy, and the third guy is huge.
It's what?
Huge.
0-2 to Ichiro. Ran it inside. Don't want to walk. If you're an Oriole fan, you don't want to walk. You don't want to hit batter. You don't want any of that stuff.
I was going to ask John, the adrenaline. Clearly, Johnson's got a lot of adrenaline flowing right now. 96 on that last pitch.
There's nothing in a regular season game that duplicates this.
Grounded up the middle. Andino throws him out. 2 up, 2 down in the ninth to Craig Sager.
Playoff baseball is back in Baltimore, and it is loud and noisy. I have right here a sound level meter reaching 120 decibels. To put this in perspective, the loudest arena in the NBA is the Thunderdome in Oklahoma City, where the sound this spring was about 109 decibels. So let's face it, this crowd at Camden Yards has topped the crowd at the Thunderdome as the loudest I've seen in many a year in sports. EJ.
Yankees Sags. Alex Rodriguez with 2 down to face Jim Johnson. You know what that little gadget read last night in the ninth inning? 0. But this is a different night, and so far it's been a different Jim Johnson.
They overthrew that last one. I would argue 92 to 94 is where you get the best sink. That 96 straightens out a little bit. That's what making the adjustment from pitch to pitch. He can throw 2 more of those, and as good as A-Rod is, those are hard to hit when they're sinking in under your hands.
Missed, 2 balls and a strike. The guy that John Smoltz says you do not want to face in the ninth inning is waiting on deck. Robinson Cano. A strike away.
This is where you got to breathe and make a pitch. Breathe. Don't forget, you got to breathe.
Fouled off to stay alive. So Cal, if John says you've got to breathe and make a pitch, you're a hitter right now in this atmosphere. What are you doing?
This is where the Yankee experience and being here so much allows you to calm yourself. Yeah, you want to breathe. You want to say, hey, just see the ball. Don't try to do too much and get a good swing on it. But this is a tough situation. Loud, your heart's pounding, and you're trying to stay alive.
The 2-2 will not be made. Angel Hernandez stepped out, called time.
That was the catcher right there. Catcher called time. That was not A-Rod. He may not have liked what he put down or just where he was at, and you see him saying, "My bad."
A full count to A-Rod with 2 down in the 9th.
That's the second one he's overthrown. When you overthrow a sinker, it doesn't have a chance to get on plane and go straight down, no effect whatsoever. So now get right back into those 2 that he threw under his hand. Relax, throw it down the middle, trust it's going to break in, kind of like a right-handed split.
The Orioles a strike away. The Yankees could be a swing away. And the series is tied at a game apiece. Jim Johnson, who led baseball with 51 saves, gets his biggest save of the season. The Orioles get a split at home. The next 3 are in the Bronx.
Chen going against a guy trying to get his 20th postseason. He comes up with his first postseason win. Great job by the young left-hander.